Father. Your father will see you now, Donna Oliver says. I give her a bored sigh as I stand up and smooth my dress. He's kept me waiting for 2 hours outside his office. How petty. Just because I helped my sister make a little speech? What was I going to do? Let her pretend to be me? Donna watches as I walk past, but there's no suspicion in her eyes, only fear of what he'll do to me. I'm more worried about Donna than anyone else. The last time Rafi and I switched places, she was the one who caught us. But it's one thing telling twins apart when they're standing side by side, another when there's only one in front of you, and quite another to believe that anyone would snap a bomb collar around her own neck. I can still hear that click. The office door closes behind me. For the first time in my life, I'm alone with my father. From behind his desk, he looks up at me. His eyes travel across what I'm wearing. I spent all morning in Rafi's closet remembering all the times I've watched her get dressed, trying not to get lost in the maze of materials, cuts, and biases, the rules of formal, casual, cocktail, creative, trying to imagine that it all really belongs to me. Only the best clothes for the first daughter of Shrev. With Rafi's voice in my head, I stayed conservative. A buttoned white shirt and dark skirt, modest shoes, like someone applying for a job. My father looks like he hasn't slept. He flew straight back from the peace conference, of course. He must have spent the night trying to put his city back in order. He gestures to a pair of chairs by the window. We sit together. The city of Shrev spread out below us. The scars of battle blacken the farm belt, and the debris of protests fills the streets. But nothing shows more damage than this tower, a gaping chunk blown out of my father's edifice. From my bedroom window, I saw people on the rooftops gazing up at it. We've made him look weak, at least. Have you seen what they're saying about us? He asks. It takes me a moment to answer. The city feeds must still be churning after the revelations in our speech last night. Rafi would have read them all by now. Choosing the right clothes would have taken her only seconds. At the edge of her mocking voice, I ask him, You haven't got the feeds under control yet? In time. For now, let them talk, so we'll know who to deal with once the dust is back in the air. I smile at his logic, my stomach churning. How many people has my call for rebellion put at risk? My father leans forward in the chair, closer to me than he's ever been before. Do you finally understand? He waves a hand at the city. With nothing but a few rebels and Palafox diehards, Frey did all this, and she forced you to make that speech. His whole frame shudders with anger, but not at me, at my little sister. For a moment, I'm too headspun to speak. 100 excuses were ready on my tongue. How I had no choice, how it was better with me, Rafi, in front of the camera, to take control if Frey went too far. How I knew the battle was already won. But my father has already made the excuses for me. We made your sister too well, too dangerous, he says. Do you see now why I tried to kill her at the start of this? He's pleading for my approval. After Cole's diagnosis of Rafi's psyche, I almost forgot how formidable she can be. But this was always her job, making people feel she was on their side, no matter what crimes my father committed. Maybe she's worked the same magic with him. Frey isn't my sister anymore, I say softly. She killed Naya right in front of me. It was grisly, Daddy. Of course it was. I'm so sorry, Rafia. But he doesn't look sorry. He looks pleased, maybe a little surprised that I'm agreeing with him so easily. Rafi would have made him work harder. I run a fingertip along my necklace. Don't you think it's time we took this off? His smile fades, his eyes narrowing a little. He reaches over to take my hand, and a shiver travels down my spine. It's the first time he's ever touched me. Without my little gift, she would have taken you away. It protects you from her. He thinks I should be grateful for this collar. Rafi's maxim rings in my head. This is not normal. I give him a shrug. I suppose, but maybe she'll stop bothering us now that you've destroyed the Palafoxes. She won't. Not while we have him in our house. He makes a gesture. The door to his private office opens and two people step through. One is a soldier, not a house guard, in a crisp gray uniform, but one of the commandos from last night, still in full body armor, The other is Cole Palafox.